432 hertz. It's high, healing frequency, deep, relaxing, positive vibration music. Okay. Sounds like there's a ceiling bowl in there. Okay, the vibes. There's a change up the vibes. Your higher self has on big ass angel wings, which I think is how your higher self showed up last time I saw you. That's probably why they were like, we're not doing that low frequency music. We need something a little bit higher. That would make sense. Bruh, the way these guides be testing me, she's talking, but I can't hear her. And I just told her, I can't hear you. And she goes, yeah, I know. They're asking me to raise my vibe to communicate. There is something else. I feel like I have to, hold on, give me a second. I might have to channel this. They're like, there you go. God damn it. Ciao. Sometimes when you're interacting with very, very high frequency guides, you're going to need to do it a different type of way. Automatic writing and stuff like that can be a good way. I think they want me to draw. Ciao. Okay. So give me a little bit. It's why I struggle so much to connect with them. My team is very high vibe. They want me to draw. Okay, it's not gonna be a cute drawing. It's just gonna be, they want me to draw things out versus write them. I think it's just gonna be a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and channel whatever they're saying. They keep showing. They're talking about timeline jumping. I have not channeled a message like this in so long. They're like, yeah, focus, okay. My spirit guide is coming up, the one I told y'all about. Got you doing quadratic? Dead ass. No, like for real. Like for real. I cannot wait to show y'all this. My guide that I was talking about the other day, the monk, he's coming through for you, Megan. Meditation, meditation, meditation. I keep asking if I can pull another card and they won't let me. I'm serious about this message. I feel like a lot of you need this message actually too. Or it'll help you kind of figure something out, or it might be an answer to what you've been looking for. Something's gonna click. This is a major download for a lot of you. Okay. Ciao. Alright. So, they definitely did have me doing geometrical, quadratic, whatever. They were literally talking about dimensions. The different dimensions / densities. I'm really interested to see how this checks out, because I think this might be something that they might want us to study a little bit more as well. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not super versed in how all the different dimensions work, but before I look it up, let me show you guys what I channeled. Okay, they were talking about the different dimensions. So they were talking about 4D, 5D. They also jumped to 7D and 8D. Densities or dimensions. They had me meditate while you tapped into them. That's dope. Okay, ciao. This is just a little taste of what happens in a session. Okay, so what they showed me, 4D. This cube is meant to represent 4th dimension or the 4th density. They were putting a lot of emphasis on the fact that it has different sides or planes, and those represent the different lives or different timelines that we can be on. They also wanted me to, I kept hearing the word vortices, so the places where the planes meet is like deja vu, or moments where you will feel these moments. And a lot of you guys have been feeling these moments where parts of yourself, parts of your past lives or whatever are meeting up. Does that make sense? Like some of you, and because it's a cube, right? So for example, say this is the current path that you're on. This was your past life you had before this, and underneath that is the past life before that. Meeting at this, oh wait, no. These ones, say like these 3 are your 3 lives. Meeting at this, like this is going to feel like a moment of feeling out of body, feeling possibly like deja vu. A lot of you, if you've been experiencing that, that is what's happening. Different versions of you in time and space are meeting at the same place at the same time. And they're giving you, it's almost like a checkpoint. I just saw a check. Okay. Yeah, because they were talking about the space-time continuum. Child, I have not I have not channeled a message like this in forever. Okay, and then we go on to 5D. So that's fourth dimension. You know how everybody's like, oh, 3D. Here on Earth, we are 3D. We are in the third dimension. But it's very possible for us to go up to higher dimensions if we know how to do it. A lot of us are moving into 4D anyway, or we go in and out of it. Okay, 5D, they showed me a sphere, right? So it does not have any corners. When you are in 5D, it is all the same. There is no time, there is no space. Simply love is what they said. Okay, is this making sense to y'all? I love this. This is dope. Okay, so then they were talking about 3D, like here on Earth, right? Having out-of-body experiences, but they are also saying that even as a 3D being, you are able to switch from dimension to dimension through your meditation, through diet. Megan, specifically for you and maybe some other people, if you've been very drawn lately to monks, to the color orange, to China, you might have been seeing things like Chinese tea or Zen gardens or things like that. They're my spirit guide, my past life version of myself, Ming Dao, that we just talked about yesterday, or whenever I got on live last, when I introduced you guys to my guides, is a spirit guide for you. And he is trying to help you through meditation and ascension. Okay, so if you guys have been seeing things like I Ching, gongs, if you've been hearing gongs, anything that's kind of associated with Chinese astrology, Chinese medicine, Chinese, like, that spirit guide is here for you to help you learn how to meditate and how to be able to switch and handle the switches between this. Also, thank you, Spirit. I'm getting brought back to, ooh, I have chills. I'm getting brought back to this card, and also they have me pick up this one. They're very similar energies, if you can see. They both have this sky in the back of them like this. I have the sun, solar flares, because if you guys were on my lives when I was talking about why we are timeline jumping and stuff like that, partially it is because the solar flares, the Schumann resonance. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up, meditate on it. Okay, the Schumann resonance, there's somebody on TikTok who talks about it. I can't remember. I think her name is Ash Lightstar. Okay, so the way that the solar flares are set up, they are launching us into these moments where we're having a lot more of these times where all of the planes that we're meeting in converge. So they're telling you not to be scared of that. That's what it is. That is the explanation. This doesn't only happen in awake state. This also happens in dream state. I feel like I'm partially channeling them. So if I start talking with an accent or if I start talking weird, it's because I'm channeling. I'm just trying to keep high vibe enough to deliver this, like stay there, but also stay here, which is difficult. They're saying it's not difficult. Okay, thanks. Okay, in order to shift to higher versions of yourself, they said it can feel very hard to stay human. So if any of you have been having a hard time, like, okay, especially those of you who have been getting headaches, who have been feeling very drowsy, if you've been feeling very loopy, if you've been getting a lot of like migraines, you've been feeling very thirsty, all of those ascension symptoms, right? Spirit is saying it is easier than you think to shift to higher versions of yourself. You're just needing to learn how to balance, and you also need to make sure that what is happening in the 3D realm needs to also happen in the other realms. How does that work? They just want you to focus on the food that you are consuming, the things that you are putting into your body. They also want you to call in protection in each realm. So that might look different to different people. Hold on. They just said drop into my heart space, so give me a second. You need to be meditating. If you guys are not meditating, you need, my third eye is so itchy right now. If you have not been meditating, you need to meditate. There are some of you who have, they're using the word abandon. There are some of you who have abandoned parts of yourself in other realms and dimensions. And the only way that you will be able to it's not literal abandonment. It's just like you've forgotten them, out of sight, out of mind, and your 3D consciousness cannot grasp them. They will not be, your 3D consciousness will not be able to grasp it. The only way that you can reach them is through meditation. Me personally, I just want to remind you, meditation is a practice. Okay, they're showing me an eagle again, which has a lot to do with seeing from a higher perspective, right? Now they're bringing my attention to 7D. They compared, so they said 4D is like this cube, 5D is like this sphere. 7D, they're saying, is like ocean. It's like an ocean. It is like formlessness. It is like 7D is you being a drop in the ocean. You cannot extract a drop from the ocean. Like, you can, but where would you be able to tell it is once it's all together? Does that make sense? And that's what we are. You and I, we're just different drops in the same ocean. 8D. 8D, I'm getting, they said hieroglyphics, light language. If you guys have been hearing, thank you, your ancestors are all coming through very clearly as well. It's 444. Yeah, I'm just talking to my ancestors real quick to make sure there's something that they said they've been trying to get this message to me for a long time, and I haven't been vibing high enough to get there. Okay, getting called out, it's fine. Okay, so 8D, they're talking about hieroglyphics and light language. So if you've been hearing whispering, if you've been hearing static in your ears, if your ears have, oop, there goes. I just heard like, kind of like, you know, like electronic noises, or like TVs turning off, like, pew, like stuff like that. If you've been hearing that, you are getting transmissions from 8D, from the 8th dimension. You have spirit guides in the 8th dimension that are trying to make contact with you. You are not going to be able to contact them until you are in a state that will allow you to do so. AKA, you need to meditate more. You need to be sitting at your altars. You need to be taking time to connect, setting out time to connect. Light language. It's frustrating. I was just about to say, if you guys are frustrated with the light language, it's just that you have not been sitting in the 8th dimension energy for long enough. The longer and longer you sit in the 8th dimension energy, the more and more you will understand the light language without even trying it. Some of you have been frustrated because you've been coming across like maybe TikToks that have light language, and you're struggling to hear it, or you're struggling to understand, like, you know that it's for you, but you don't really know. Your 3D brain cannot perceive it. It will not be able to perceive it. That's why it's important that you step into your 8th dimensional self. A lot of people's higher selves hang out between 5 and 9th dimension. You've been getting ringing. You've probably been getting messages from your 8th dimension guides, and you need to spend more time in the 8th dimension. If it's not coming through to you clearly, like I'm talking to you, how you can hear me now, you need to spend more time in the 8th dimension. Okay. Now, for my own purposes, because I haven't really looked into it as much, I want to actually look at other information out there about the different dimensions and see how they describe it and see how well it matches up. Interesting. Yeah, even now, I'm feeling very out of body. I'm feeling very, like, woozy. I want to check this 7th dimension explained. Let's see. Okay, it says many are familiar with the 7th dimension as the home of Christ consciousness. Exactly. The confirmation, the chills, Christ consciousness. So that was the ocean part that I was talking about. Here, the essence of the unconditional love combined with all the qualities we think of as God consciousness in human form: compassion, empathy, generosity, truth, and especially forgiveness. In the 7th dimension, you have access to the possible worlds that start with different initial conditions, whereas in the 5th and 6th dimension, the initial conditions were the same and the subsequent actions were different. Here, everything is different from the very beginning of time. That's so interesting. 7th dimensional Euclidean space is 7th dimensional space equipped with a Euclidean metric, which is defined by the dot product. More generally, the term may refer to a 7-dimensional vector space over any field, such as a 7-dimensional complex vector space which has 14 dimensions. That's fucking wild. This is crazy. The 7 dimensions include physical, intellectual, environmental, vocational. So I feel like I need to like save this or something. Let me see what the 8th dimension is. This is cool, is it not? I think your higher self, Megan, right now is hovering around 90. I can feel it. I feel like your higher self is hovering between 7th and 9th dimension. Okay. 8th dimension. Is this making sense to y'all? Who needed this? I feel like some of y'all needed it and didn't even know you needed it, if that makes sense. 8th dimensional space. Okay, it says in mathematics, a sequence of n real numbers can be understood as a location. See, this is probably why, because child, I don't do math. When n equals 8, the set of all such locations is called 8th dimensional space. Often such spaces are studied as vector spaces without any notion of distance. Exactly. This is where time and space do not exist. So some of you are even visiting the 7th, 8th dimension in your dream state, and then you are coming back down to 3D and you're confused. It's messing you up. What is the 8th dimension in simple terms? It says, in physics, the 8th dimension contains all other dimensions, therefore including everything. So that's like the light language thing that I was talking about. In medieval numerology, 8 it signifies eternity or infinity. So if you've been seeing 8s, just more of a confirmation. Or if you've been seeing numbers that add up to 8. It says the Buddhist. Of course it talks about Buddhists. Buddhism, Taoism, all that stuff is coming through really strongly. Okay? The Buddhists speak of the eightfold path to enlightenment. Basically, y'all are ascending. What does the 8th dimension look like? This is interesting. Whoa. Okay. I feel like I have to... Listen, Spirit took us down a whole rabbit hole. Ciao.
And Overa, only birth control that's annual and procedure-free, would like to officially declare that we don't have to
Girl, what is you
apologize
talking
on
about?
behalf of our vaginas. So let's hereby...
In this video, I will show you how you can draw all the dimensions on a sheet of paper.
I feel like we have to watch
Starting
this.
from the 0th dimension to the 8th dimension. Guys, I request you to watch this video till the end, as this video will be more and more interesting as we proceed. So without wasting time, let's begin our journey from 0 to 8.
I feel like we have to watch this.
We will start with the 0 dimension. Here on the screen we have a single point having no length, no width and no height. As it has no dimension, it is called as the 0 dimension. Now, if we double the number of points, then we enter into a one-dimensional world having only one dimension, that is length. So in the first dimension, we only get a straight line having no width or no height.
If y'all, I just got chills because if y'all were here the other day, I literally talked about this concept yesterday. I didn't realize I was, but I was talking about this concept because I was talking about 2 dots and a line. Y'all remember that?
Double the points again, and this is what we call as the 2nd dimension. Observe here, it has only 2 dimensions, length and width. So it is a plane surface having no height or depth dimension. To enter into the 3rd dimension, let's again double the points and we get the 3rd dimension. As you can see here, the 3rd dimension contains 3 dimensions, which are length, width, and height.
Interesting, because this looks like the drawing that I did for 4th dimension. So I wonder what the differences between those are. This is so interesting.
Plane object, they become the 3rd dimensional solid objects. We all live in a 3-dimensional world. Now to draw and understand the 4th dimension, we again need to double the points. And here we are in the 4th dimension. Observe carefully that to draw 4th dimension, we need to join respective points of both the cubes, which are 3-dimensional objects. Now let's repeat the process of doubling the points to enter into the next higher dimension.
Is this making sense to y'all?
All you need
I feel like this is like very deep, esoteric, download type shit. We haven't had one of these on my live in a long time. Some of y'all are just like in the message, so let me just play it.
Is just double the number of points that we used to draw the 4th dimension and join the similar points respectively as shown here in the video.
Exactly how I said. Remember the planes? That's what they were showing me in the 4th D. They were talking about the planes and the places that they meet, because that's what this arrow was supposed to be, but I was going really fast.
And you will know how would the 5th dimensional space look like by continuing the same process of doubling the points of a dimension.
But to break this down,
the next higher dimension.
But to break this down, remember, he's drawing all of these points in between these dots, right? These dots are going to be different moments of like deja vu, us in our dream state. It's going to be things coming together, things making sense or feeling correct.
Although the concept of drawing the next higher dimension is easy, but as you can see here, it becomes more and more complex as we continue. So here, for drawing the 6th, 7th, and 8th
They didn't show me the 6th
I'm
dimension.
just showing you the doubling of points only, without joining the lines, as it would be too complicated and messy for me to draw, and also for you to understand. As you now know how to do it, so you can do it by yourself for fun. So friends, I hope you enjoyed learning how to draw any dimension just by following a simple rule.
As long as I didn't marry Bow Wow like I did in my dream. Okay, one thing that I will say about dreams, no matter how wacky they are, or our imagination, for example, something that I actually channeled today during a personal session with somebody. Stop writing off your imagination. People always think that their imagination is something that is not true. It's not real. We're not supposed to believe in your imagination. Your imagination exists for a reason, and everything in your imagination exists. Unicorns, goblins, dragons, fairies, all of those things exist. They just exist in these higher densities or dimensions, like he was talking about. Did you see how the first one was just this? You will not be able to perceive it here. So if you talk to somebody and you ask them, do you think that dragons are real? And if they're like, nah, like dragons aren't, you know what dimension they're in. They're in the dimension that dragons are not a part of. Do you understand? He was condescending though. He kept calling me fat, which I keep calling myself fat and worthless, so it makes sense. Exactly. But do you know why? The thing about it is, because Chris Brown is you. You are Chris Brown. I am you. You are me. We are all just reflections of each other. Whatever it is that you share with Chris Brown, whatever it is, whatever traits, qualities you feel like you share with him will tell you what part of you is telling yourself that. That's what I have to say about that. Okay, does this make sense? What else? What other thoughts? I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I know it's kind of like limited space in the comments, but I really do want to hear. Let me put the music back on. Ooh, this is cool. I want to watch this. Things you'll find in other dimensions. I feel like for a lot of you too, this is just going to be a seed planting for you so that you can go do your own exploration on your own. But that's what I'm here for. Sometimes that's all a teacher does, is just plant the seed so that you guys can go water it yourself and grow whatever type of flower you want to grow. This is wild. I was not expecting any of this. So cool. My guides always come through with the collective messages. Remember we said that though early on when I started reading for you? Megan, remember I was like, you are super connected to the collective. Like, it's not even just you, it's the collective. And that's because your higher self is vibing so high. That's crazy. I'm going to actually study more on that. And I might do like a podcast episode or something because that was fucking wild. I was not expecting that. Very interesting. My brain stays busy. I feel like I'm always getting more than I can decipher. Need to meditate. Meditate. Please meditate. Please, 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 please. I almost didn't book the reading, but said, oh, what the heck, I'll do it anyway. I'm glad that you did. And this is what happens when we follow our intuition. Yes, remember I've told you guys, following your intuition is about more than just you. If you have an intuition to do something, you doing it is going to affect way more than just you. And it could be in different ways. It's crazy. Okay, they're telling me to listen to this one. This is 741 hertz. It says cleanse infections and dissolve toxins. Some of y'all need a cleanse. Aura cleanse and spiritual detox. Amen. I feel like I think Jesus energy is coming through really strongly as well. That's that 7th dimension light. Woo, I just got chills. Okay. I am not taking any more because after that, I can only do a couple more. So y'all gonna have to, if y'all want to expand on that with your own guides, you can book a personal sesh and we can get into it because, that was a lot.